everyone. Welcome to The Path of Me. I'm your host, Wendy Hutchinson, and my guest today is the beautiful Allana Pratt. She is an intimacy and relationship coach and published author, and also she does a ton of great writing. She's been a guest on expert on CBS, TLC, Fox, and writes a column weekly for the Good Men Project. So she's a woman of many talents. Welcome, Allana.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's great to see you, and you're more beautiful than ever. And
thank you.
Really honored to be able to share not just where I am now, but kind of how I got there, the bumps and wobbles and the process and the journey.
It's never just a smooth ride, is it?
No.
If only.
Yeah.
So take me back to how you actually got into this type of coaching. I know you've been doing it for many, many years. What was kind of the catalyst that pushed you in this direction?
I think I always knew, I knew I didn't want to take over my dad's pharmacy. So I hopped on my Uncle Phil's big 18-wheeler, semi-truck when I was 19, and I left my hometown and I quit college, and it was kind of
that was radical.
Quite the exodus, yeah. Because I knew there was something more. I had a draw for global. I had a draw for entrepreneurship, but I didn't know what I was doing and no real guides on what to do.
Right.
But I had this skill set of being a dancer since I was 5 years old. Mm-hmm. Jazz, ballet, tap, theater. So I had this crazy idea that I would just go dance on a cruise line while I figured my life out. So I moved down to LA, and I didn't have a visa. So I was good enough, but they couldn't hire me. So I was almost out of money, $40 left, but I got a job in Japan. So I moved over to Japan, and I spent 4 years there beginning to listen to my heart, listen to my soul, dance, the sacred sensuality that I just loved, backpacking, meeting people, really starting to create your reality. I learned, wow, if I asked a question, a seeming portal would open of different experiences. So I was starting to explore the power of thought, the power of intention, being embodied, not just thinking. So that was sort of an exploration for 4 years. And then I met my first husband and moved back to New York City with him. And that became sort of, if I sort of see life as like a DNA spiral, like you show up and then it's a dark night of the soul, but you're actually still growing. And then again, you show up, things work, another dark night of the soul. So it's kind of like this.
You're elevating every time you take a trip around that spiral. You're elevating
exactly
a little bit, right? So
yes, and so the gift in that is, you are totally right. Even though we go back, we're still going up, and that's where I learned about vulnerability, humility, transparency. Where I really learned to love my wobbly self, not just my accomplished self. So those dark side of the moons have been really supportive with my message. And it's kind of where I started to learn about intimacy, not intimacy in the sexual act, but intimacy with self, transparency, honesty, sitting in the fire, not judging myself, loving.
Huge. That's huge. Being able to just sit in the fire, because I think so many people run from pain.
Oh, I was very good at running, very good at being fake, very good at that.
I think we've all had our time with those experiences, because people want to avoid pain, right? And so it's easier to run than to actually go deep and go there.
Yeah.
Just allow yourself to feel it fully.
Yeah. The first time I started to learn how to feel, it felt like I was dying. It felt like I was going to go down this dark chasm, and I would maybe go crazy, or I would never stop crying. Like, I was really terrified to feel.
Were you alone in that moment? Did you have anybody to help you through that, or were you just kind of navigating this on your own?
I would say a variety. I've been a coach, intimacy expert for 18 years. I've been coached for 18 years. I think it's out of integrity to be a coach if you're not getting coached, because I can't see my blind spot. So I've always had teachers as I taught. And so sometimes the teachers would be a coach, a spiritual healer. We've done work together. You've been extraordinary in my life. I've done plant medicine journeys. I've done all sorts of different ways to sit in the fire and be supported sitting in the fire, until I learned it's almost like you could say hurt so good, you know, like 10 more push-ups don't feel great, but they kind of do. Or, you know, like when you're at the gym, like there's a strength you're building through discomfort, or facing your finances. It's not great, but when you're through it and you pay off the debt, you feel great. Like there's a beauty or a yumminess that's uncomfortable about pain. So I started to have a new relationship with the gifts of pain or the message. So it wasn't, you know, no pain and pleasure, which is the, you know, addiction pattern. So many
perspective, don't you think? Don't you think so much of our lives is how we perceive what's happening in our lives? And by shifting the perspective, it allows us to really take a new and fresh look at what's happening. It's not always the shitstorm that it appears to be.
And we're in charge of that. Yeah, totally. I agree. We're in charge of our point of view about that. I think probably one of the first things that happened that helped me with that, my best friend died unexpectedly when I was 16. And my cat hadn't died. My grandma's hadn't died. Nobody had died. And I was like, what? My best friend? And there was this event that happened. My friends took me to go riding bikes at the provincial park and trying to make me feel better. And as we were coming home down the mountain, down into the lake, this open area where our cabin was down here, Wendy, there wasn't a cloud in the sky, but there were 2 rainbows right down to my cabin. And my friend that died, his mom had just died 10 months earlier. And he was expressing to me, Allana, I don't know how to live. I can only say to you, Allana, if you, because I'm a dancer, right? It's like taking your legs away and then asking you to keep living. He goes, I don't know how to keep living without my mom. I miss her so much. So when I saw those 2, not one rainbow, I'm like, they're together again. This was all meant to be. Everything's okay. So I had this sense of relief, like he's okay. And then this choice, like this fork in the road, was presented to my consciousness. Would you rather not be feeling the pain right now and never know him?
Right.
Or be feeling the pain right now and learn how to keep your heart open and keep living? And I felt like the gift of him coming into my life to give me that choice. And I chose, no, I'm going to learn how to feel it all and keep my heart open and keep going. It was like, whoa, this moment. And not that that was a fun experience, but that's been a lot of my journey, is how do we move through pain and keep our heart open and stay connected to self, connected to source, see the pain, maybe not the moment it happens, but pretty quickly after. What's the gift in this? What's the message in this? How is this for me, not against me? And it's made all the difference.
Yeah. So you started your coaching practice pretty quickly then. After did you start it after you came back from Japan or after New York? I mean, what was
sort of, yeah. When I came back from Japan, I didn't have a visa. So I went to Columbia and I got my art history degree. So that was around about a 4-year period. And then I got married to my first husband and I had a green card for the first time. So I started doing I was a Pilates instructor. I did these little things. I called them goddess getaways. But it wasn't until we completed our marriage when I'm like, okay, it's up to me. All the bills are up to me again. So I had to figure it out. So I put up my sign that no longer am I just volunteering at different organizations. This is my practice. And it was very humbling because I studied art history. I'm an amazing coach and healer, but I have no fucking clue about business. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how you only make 20 or 30 cents on the dollar because there's taxes and there's expenses.
Right.
Like, I didn't know any of this.
There's a little learning curve there.
Massive learning curve. I didn't know how to charge my worth. I was so nervous to ask for my worth. I only did one session at a time. I didn't create packages. I didn't know how to market myself. I was just a hot mess. But the universe must have wanted me to do this because mentors showed up.
Your way forward.
Yeah, programs showed up. I learned, and I was willing again that wobbly self, the one who didn't sell. Like at one point I went through a custody battle and I had to sell my house, but I waited till the last minute. So I almost went into bankruptcy or foreclosure. Like there were so many little me's that I had to forgive and say, hey, you did your best. And what did we learn? So it was such a vulnerable, humbling process that actually the way I loved myself home led to more self-confidence. I could have pretended, shoved them in a closet, pretended I was fine, held on to bitterness, resentment. I could have handled it differently and still been fake, but that wasn't what I chose. I chose to sit in the fire, love and forgive myself, love and forgive others, and share about my vulnerability, so that others could have permission to let go of their shame and step into their presence. Not this, I don't think this, we got to be perfect and triumphant and do it right. No, it's just, I think we're just here to experience.
And also honor the process.
Yeah.
The entire process, not just the victories. Because
exactly,
you know, we have to go through so many lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So many lessons to get to where we are today. And it doesn't just happen overnight. And we have to be vulnerable. We have to open our heart. And if we're not willing to look at our own shit and work through it, we're not able to fully show up and help others go through the same journey. That's the entire reason we go through what we go through, so that we can in turn turn around and, you know, extend a hand to help someone.
Absolutely.
Find their way out of it.
I've even named my corporation Celebrate the Process Incorporated. It's not called Celebrate the Goal Attainment Incorporated. It's called Celebrate the Process. You remind me that my worth, I might accomplish things or achieve things, but that's a different dimension than my worth. My worth never changes. No matter what I do or don't do, no matter what I gain or lose, no matter if I'm single or in relationship, money, no money, like whatever, my worth doesn't change.
Well, our worth is inherent.
Exactly.
We're worthy. We're born whole and complete.
Yes. And I think a lot of my journey shares the misinterpretation that our worth is connected to our bank account or our accomplishments or our marriage or our body or all these other things on the outside. Mm-hmm. And while that's all fun and lots of life experience and all the rest of it, it's still a different dimension than our worth, which, as you said, is inherent. So that's been my practice, and that's what home feels like, that no matter what's happening on the outside, I can find this place on the inside. Right. And then when I make choices from that place, things tend to go quite well. But when I make a reaction from the outside place of trying to control or look good or do it right, it never seems to go very well. So I'm quite open and vulnerable in my newsletters of my, I fell down here and here's how
I do read your newsletters. You're very transparent and vulnerable, and I think that's why you have such a large following. You also have an incredible podcast.
Thank you, that you have been on as well.
Celebrate the Process, or Intimate Conversations. It's called Intimate Conversations.
Intimate Conversations. I've had lots of incredible guests, and including Wendy, and I'm booked out months in advance, and I'm on other people's podcasts, and I love to be in conversation. Intimate conversation with people.
I know, I think you have like 4 million followers or something crazy.
That's for YouTube. Yeah. Not followers, but viewers.
Viewers. That's huge. So congratulations on that milestone. That must be good to know you're creating impact and that you have potential reach is so powerful. Mm-hmm.
It's really fulfilling, Wendy, because I'll get these, like I just got one yesterday of a woman, and I'd done a video about someone who had lost their spouse. They had died, and they were asking me a question, and I answered. But her response to me was, it wasn't my question, but you were talking just to me. And I just want you to know I felt it. And please keep doing more videos.
That's so sweet.
It's sweet, totally sweet, and I'm glad she reached out. But for me, it's a confirmation of following what's true for me. Mm-hmm. Literally, when the camera comes on, I feel more energy. Like if I write, I feel a certain amount of energy. If I do a podcast, I feel a certain amount of energy. But when the video comes on, something happens where it's like my capacity to be used for the divine is like, whoa, it's at its full 10 out of 10. It's like so much energy. I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be doing this. And part of the wobbly dark nights of the soul of the DNA spiral of my career has been, well, that's just your ego, Allana. You shouldn't want to be on TV and do that. That's just, stop that. And so I would dim my light and just do this or just do that. So the beauty of her comment is, one, it's sweet.
It's also just a validation that you need to keep going, right?
Yes, it's a confirmation from the universe. So I just share that little backstory just so that the viewers and listeners, you know, if there's something that your soul is whispering to do, and your mind might say, no, keep listening to that whisper and keep listening to the feedback from the universe to go in your unique direction with your unique gifts, not comparing it to others. It's just going to feel like that full-bodied flow of energy through you, and all space and time or everything else will flow away, and you'll just be so nourished and nourishing to others when you found that special place. And I'm just so blessed that I'm finding my special place.
It's so important to release the fear, because fear keeps people, playing small. It forces people to dim their light. They make choices to stay in the background, and we're here to really shine. Every single person has a reason that they're here.
Totally.
They're here to share with the world. And so, for every person that dims their light, they're actually depriving everyone of the gift that they're here to share. So they're actually, they're doing the right thing, but they're actually denying the rest of us of their beautiful gifts, by owning their truth or finding the courage to step into their full power, I believe,
Yeah. It's interesting, like release the fear. I don't know if maybe it's just semantics, but I don't feel like I actually like release it and then I feel all good and then I act. It's sort of like all mushed together of like, okay, this is scary, but I'm going to take some action. Come on, little you. Noogie, we got this. And it's still like intense. And then you get into action, and then the flow of the universe is with you. And then you're riding the wave, or you're like whatever visual you want to use. And like you're okay. But it's never like I have a day of fearless. I have never had one of those days.
Not pure fearlessness. I think you should always do something that scares you a little bit, right? We're always like there's an envelope and trying to go forward, and you should always
like an edge.
Bit of edge, like
That's my happy place, Wendy, is the edge, because I can be complacent and literally be hiding and making up excuses or whatever. But like, let's just be honest, I'm hiding. Okay, or there's I'm pushing and I'm making this happen, and it's a little bit of ego and a little too much will. But then there's this beautiful place, like we'll call it the edge, and it's where I'm present. And part of me, it doesn't know what the hell's going to happen. I'm totally out of control. And the other part is totally at choice, aligned, discerning, aware, this kind of, and it's like this edge, and it's not comfortable. I would have to say it's uncomfortable, but it's deliciously uncomfortable or magnificently uncomfortable. It's got like a yummy discomfort to it. Kind of like pain when we were talking about before. Like it hurts so good, 10 more push-ups. Like, and to become comfortable with the uncomfortable.
It requires a bit of surrender too. A little faith.
A lot of faith.
I was going to say, wait a minute. Maybe it's actually a lot of faith to know that.
Because you're like jumping
all
the time. The edge is like, there's the edge. It's like you're right in it all the time.
It's definitely a fine line you're walking, for sure. So beautiful son, Gabriel. And is he 15, 16?
He's 16 in less than a month. So yes, he's 15, almost 16.
Wow. So I know he's been such a pivotal part of your journey. Maybe you can speak to that, about how you've evolved as a woman, as a parent, as you're no longer married to his father. So, this entire process around him has provided incredible growth for you. So maybe
massive.
I know that's just been a huge part of your journey.
Yeah. I feel like, okay, that was the first show. Now we should do another show all about Gabriel.
We might not have enough time to cover it all, but.
Well, I'll do the Reader's Digest version. So I got pregnant the week after my mom died, and he's a very awake child. And within a year, I divorced his father. I realized I chose to get married to not feel the death of my mom or the loneliness of it. So I didn't make a good choice in a partner, but a magnificent choice in creating a baby together. Right. So from a very young age, he would say, Grandma Gwen's in the living room. Well, she's right there. Can't you see her? Like he can see and feel, and he's so sensitive. And, Mommy, don't raise your voice. It feels like 1,000 icicles. And so, so he really was a wonderful teacher for me. And he also brought out a lot of my great qualities of like creation and adventure and really savoring moments. But from a very early age, it was only 50-50 custody. And so I had this choice. Well, am I going to miss him, pine for him, worry about him? It's not going to do any good. Or am I going to just bless him, surround him in light, and take care of me? and focus on me so that I could be the best mother when he returns. So it was another invitation of balance and not guilt, and being my best self. Fast forward, the father didn't like that I divorced him. I agreed to life. I broke my word. Not so pleased about that. And so
Wow.
his anger is still to this day, not in the form of the 12-year custody battle, but other forms of, you're not allowed to see your mother. So even up until recently, my son and I would lie and hide and see each other. So just still not okay with me. But anyways, a very, very long custody battle where I lost all my assets. And it was awful, but it was wonderful because his lies and accusations would trigger, I call them the slivers. Well, she's crazy because she doesn't have a PhD and she's a coach. So she must be a narcissist thinking she knows anything, in court, justifying my purpose. So I wasn't yet calm in my purpose. I was still looking for approval. So he would find all my little places to poke, my triggers, or, oh, she talks about intimacy. She probably sleeps with her clients, Your Honor. Like just nasty crap,
Gosh, wow.
hacking into my phone, finding all the texts of my boyfriend, submitting them to court. See, she's a slut. Like just nasty, mean, uncomfortable stuff that
yeah.
But the gift is that now, if they had said, so do you sleep with your clients? I would say to the opposing counsel, would you like to be my next client? I would just screw with them. Like I don't have shame anymore. But back then I was still uncomfortable talking about sex, sexuality, intimacy, sacredness. I was still uncomfortable. So the gift of all of that was I grew in owning my worth, my purpose, without needing to justify or
stepping into your power. Sometimes showing up, when you show up fully in your power, you don't have to say anything.
Correct.
Show up and you are fully empowered. You just walk in a room and people know who you are.
So that's who I was not during the court battle, but who I became by the end of the court battle was the one that didn't need to justify anymore. And another lesson I learned, Gabriel's way of speaking up to say, stop this, was to say, I want to kill myself. So he ended up in what's called 5150, where the state takes your child behind 5 layers of prison doors, and they're not your child anymore until they decide to release them. So talk about surrender. Talk about, wow, what if this child only came to then kill himself for my growth, my lessons, his dad's growth? Like, oh.
Well, it triggers so much fear, so much anxiety. Boy, those kids are so pivotal in the growth process. For us. No, I mean, whether they're going through something extreme like that, or even just everyday life, I know in the beginning, before I had kids, thought, oh, I can't wait to have kids, and I'm going to teach them all this stuff, and they're going to be amazing, and blah, blah, blah. And then you have them, and you're like, wait a minute, they're actually here to be my teacher.
Yes.
I got that all backwards. I'm supposed to be learning from them, and they are the gifts.
Yes.
Gifts are the struggle for sure,
Oh my goodness, yeah.
But you sure have transcended so much, and now you're kind of on the other side of it, where you have a great relationship with your son.
I do.
But
I had to really let him go. The last episode was, Dad's right, you're crazy. I'm not going to live with you anymore. And off they go from the driveway with all of his stuff. And I went into like a cabin in the woods to process.
What year was that? How long ago was that?
Year and a half ago. And so the gift of that was, I was still, I lost the court battle. I lost partial custody. I lost my assets, like lost, but at least my son still loves me. I'm good enough. Right. So, but when he was like, later, Mom, I was like, oh, well, so the only place to go was home. And so but layer by layer, been finding just peace with myself, no matter what my circumstances.
Peeling those layers back piece by piece. So, you're such a great example of really paying attention and honoring what you need. You have so many people on your team. You have coaches, you have spiritual teachers. We do energy work together. You have your own, obviously intimate circle. friends that you can always call on and support you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have such a good team. I think it's really important for people who are going through struggle to build
reach out for help.
Unity around them.
I sort of see it like a tree, like, or a plant. The deeper the roots, the higher the shoots. Like if I'm going to show up in the world, I can't be a tree without any, roots. And we're going to fall over with the first storm. So I really value my team, and I'm truly able to serve more. And I believe the success I've had is because I'm willing to be humble, balanced, equilibrated with my support staff and the gifts that I give. And in that last episode where I didn't talk to Gabriel for 5 or 6 months, he did call. We did make amends. He has learned so much on his own, as have I. We're stronger than ever.
It's so beautiful to be in that space after having navigated all those rocky.
Yeah, he tells me things. He asks for hugs. We process stuff together. He's 6'3". It's like, and we're still creating. We're still creating what's next. I don't know what he's going to do with baseball. I don't know what he's going to do with his dad. My life is open. I'm newly completing of a lover relationship. So it's really wonderful to know that we can choose and we can take action, and then we just let it go, whatever the universe wants. This is my best guess. Here we go. And have your way with me, universe. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to be as safe and present in the unknown as I can be without freaking out. So like
that's a good goal, right? To be in the unknown, but not freak out. That's a noble goal, I believe. I believe you're doing pretty good at it. I'm not perfect, but I certainly am doing my best. Yeah. None of us are. We're all kind of just trying to get through, and find our way. We're all on our own path, right? Our own journey. But today, Allana, is our 1-year anniversary of your recalibration.
Oh my God, it is!
Which is exciting. Cool. I just realized that. It's actually today. And
oh my God, wow.
I know. So I'm really excited that I just realized that, and that we could talk a little bit about what your year has been like after from that, having that Marconics recalibration, which is basically an energetic, a complete energetic remapping of your genetic field. And it's a really powerful process, which we're not here to talk about. I really just want to honor your process and your time. So maybe you could share what this past year has looked like for you, because you've had a tremendous year of growth.
Yes, I have. I'd say the highlights of the year, there was a feeling, whether it was true or not, it felt like I was nonstop being psychically attacked by my ex-husband. Like it was nonstop. I could feel it. Maybe it would show up as a court case. Maybe it would show up as an email. Maybe it would show up as him talking to my dad behind my back, and now my dad hates me. Like, I don't know what was happening, but I could feel it happening.
Right.
And I was always under attack. Never not under attack. So I could get into my meditative safe place. I could enjoy my dance class. I could go out with friends. But at the end of the day, there was still this, he's going to get me. He's going to get me. It's gone.
Awesome.
It's gone. And we can go into more details if people want to know, but there was a life track I was on that I was doing my best, but I just couldn't get off. I don't know why. I don't know how it works. I don't know why it works. I don't know if I could have done something better or longer or different or whatever it was, but the choice, I'm on a different life track now. I'm not afraid
We
of
definitely experienced a timeline jump.
Yeah. So that is everything to me, because you're living in fear and terror every day, or you're present and peaceful every day. It's like a totally different reality. He still doesn't like me. He still does really shitty things. He still says to our son, you can't see your mother. And he has to stand up to his dad and go, no, I'm going to see my mother. Like it's just so that the circumstances are similar, but the energy is totally different.
Right.
I'm like in my little happy Teflon bubble, like nothing touches me now.
Yes.
And I'm not afraid at my core. I'm present and at choice and creating at my core. So that to me is like the biggest gift of it all, to set me free of that dynamic. from there, I experienced a year-long relationship with a wonderful man. It didn't go to phase 2, but so much growth and beauty occurred. My son and I are stronger than ever, having wonderful times together, creating together. My YouTube channel's huge. My clients are full. I live in this beautiful sanctuary in the Avocado Hills in San Diego.
You've really started to manifest your life in a powerful, powerful way. It feels like you've got such alignment.
Well, I can show up again, Wendy.
Yeah.
I was just, I mean, when the police officers don't stop knocking at your door, and anywhere you go, you get attacked, and it just blindsides you, and you're always being blindsided for over a decade. It just really wears on you.
I don't know how you survived that and still managed to create a thriving business, pay off so much debt that was incurred through all these legal battles. I just really processed.
Yeah, it was a lot.
So impressed by you in being a single mom and just like making it happen. You just made shit happen, girl.
Well, I think I'll like conclude that little story with like, I really was a damsel in distress. Like I just wanted someone to save me. Like, can the aliens abduct my ex, and can I just have $1 million and everything will be fine? Like that really was like, I didn't want to do anything. Like just save me. So I started, but then I grew and I really became a warrior priestess of the light, you know, fighting for the good. But it was exhausting, but I did it. Like I paid off $250,000 in debt. I created a business. I never went under. Like the lights stayed on, and my son and I are great. So that was like a phase. I feel like the phase, I'm not like there totally yet, but this is where I'm moving into. It's more like a queen energy where I choose, I take action, but it's already done. I don't even need to worry about it. It or better is already done. I'm totally co-creating with the universe. There's peace inside me, energy inside me, magic happening. It's more humble, but more grand all at the same time. So like deeper and wider. And I just really feel I'm like, I give my life to God. I give my life to the universe. Like I'm here to serve. Like that's what I do. And also to have delicious fun. Like I'm allowed to have ease.
Yes.
It's safe to have ease. I'm allowed to have it be luxurious and delicious and yummy, and be my best self. Like, so this is where I'm moving into this next phase. So
which is going to be more incredible and expansive and beautiful than it already is.
Please.
It's going to be magic.
Yes,
It's gonna be magic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
So what's next for you? Are you thinking about staying in San Diego? Are you contemplating heading back to LA? Do you have any plans around that?
Well, right now I'm up for a TV show. So they will decide in April. Pilot season decides then, and they start in July. So my intention is that I book the show. It's my happy place. It would be so fun. If it doesn't happen, then I think instead of going back to LA for that, what delights me is to find a home. I've been debts paid off. I've been building my down payment for a home. I think the market will soften. I'd like a ranch style home with mountains. So I'll just do my little Airbnb exploring the world until I find something for myself.
Tell me a little bit about the show. Tell me what that's about.
Oh, it's awesome. It is, it's like The View meets, I don't know, like Dr. Phil kind of idea for the relationship world, dating world. So there were maybe 12 of us that auditioned for like how our chemistry worked together. The main host and producer is someone we've known for years and years, a colleague. And so she and some other producers are creating it. So she invited her favorite people, and we got to work with a person live, you know, with her dating problems, and chat amongst ourselves and coach her. And I just know, Wendy, that I'm like the say it like it is heart energy of that. There was a lot of people with a lot of strategy, and she should do this and not do this. And I go, no. And I just said to her, how did he hurt you? And then, right? All of the healing. I go, she's creating, you guys are giving her sprinkles on top of the ice cream cone of shit. It's not going to work until she's actually healed on the inside. Because right now she's dating like this. She's not, she says she's dating, but she's not. She's hurt and wounded and trying to be safe, and it's not going to work. So I made her cry within like 3 seconds. And I'm like, you guys are awesome, but you're part 2. I'm part 1. We need to do this first. And then together.
Well, hopefully you'll get hired so you can always do part 1, and then they can talk about the nuts and bolts later. You can get
which are valid, just in the wrong order. That's all.
Right. How many people would be on that panel? Or
like the view. I guess it's, what is that, 4 or 5 people, something like that. So I choose
Well,
it.
that's
I want to
cool.
go. We'll see what
That's
happens.
exciting.
It is. It is.
You'd be
I'm
great
ready.
at that. I can just see you sprinkling your magic all over that.
Thank you.
You'll have
And
to
it
keep
would
us
be nice
posted.
to be, thank you. And it would be nice to be back closer to Gabriel for his 11th and 12th year. That would also be nice. He can still live with his dad, but I'm not a 2.5-hour drive. I'm like,
Right. It's not like a
across
whole
him.
day to go see him. You can actually
Correct.
go over.
Yeah, I would like that, because in the past, Wendy, I didn't know how to be in LA with that amount of psychic attack coming at me. I just didn't know how to do it. I
Well,
had to
you
go
were
to the
so
middle of nowhere.
close too. I think it's so beautiful that we were able to maybe facilitate a little of that being
Oh,
from you.
yeah, I'm literally able to go back to LA now, Wendy, and not feel that attack anymore, and be there for my son and be there for myself and just wish the best for my ex. That wasn't the case a year ago.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of that too is all that inner work you've done, and the alignment you have now with your higher
I
up.
never stop doing my inner work. Yeah. I'm an ever ready bunny, always willing to own my shit and do my work, and then pass along in my newsletters and in my coaching clients and intimate
Right.
conversations and whatever, everything.
Hopefully at some point you
learned.
can just draw on past experience and not have to continue to go deep and keep doing all this, digging and working. Although I know that you get all these nuggets from the experience, but
Yeah, I don't know if it's possible to be like done.
yeah, I think it's eternal. Probably
but it doesn't need to be dramatic. So
right.
yeah.
Maybe not as intense.
Yeah, a lot more, I don't know. Yeah, a lot more ease with the process. And I think I am getting more gentle with myself, but I'm always willing to uncover this next level and share it.
Let's talk a little bit about your work. Who's your ideal client? I know you've had all kinds of, you've worked with famous people. You worked with someone from Dancing with the Stars, or you also did, I don't know, was it Alanis Morissette or something that you?
She was on my radio show, yeah. When Debbie Ford died, she shared about her relationship with her, yeah. So the clients I work with, about 60% women, 40% men, and I do a lot of group work together. Really, that safe place to begin to heal your heart and show up vulnerably again in a conscious community is one of the things I provide. And so most people have having trouble trusting again. They've been burned, betrayed, and they don't know how to open their heart and have that really deep, soulful connection. And so they have these protection mechanisms, but that emotional unavailability to self is mirrored in emotionally unavailable partners. And so it might be surface and fun and chemistry for a while, but it doesn't have the roots to really go long term, because there's still healing to do inside. We can't create on top of an emotional charge. We can't. So I flatten these emotional charges through the different healing techniques that I've been taught. So they come back to that 0 point. So that's the healing part. And then it's the skill generation of, like, how do I ask for what I desire in a way that elicits, that can be inviting if they're a woman? How can I lead as a noble man with my heart, not dominating? So really, I call the men noble badasses and the women sacred, sexy goddesses. And it's really that internal balance to attract our ideal partners. And what ends up happening is, yes, they attract this ideal partnership. Many of my clients are engaged and married, but some of them just go, I'm just happy alone. I'm just not lonely anymore. I'm alone, but I'm not lonely. And they also attract more aligned careers or money or,
Well, so much of that is once you get to a place of self-love and alignment, that's what happens, right? Once you're aligned, then the universe starts to deliver the vibration of experience, opportunities, relationships that align with that.
And you have the capacity to receive it and have it.
Yes,
you deserve it. You can actually receive it. A lot of people have it come right to the front door, but they're like, oh, I can't open the door. And I'm like, wait, but it's what you asked for. But I know. So all the way
you're
home.
Like right there.
Yeah. So
so you do work with couples too, or you just primarily work with individuals? How does that work?
I would say 80% is, or maybe even 90% are singles, but I do work with couples as well. And in fact, I had a wonderful conversation with one of the couples yesterday. I love it. We always talk in the car. So I'm in the car with them, and just the exercises in presence and contact and connection and truth and vulnerability and really being with the other And can you stay present when the other is sad, mad, scared? Just these really incredible intimacy communication skills that I help develop, whether you're single or whether you're in a relationship. They make all the difference, because life is equal support and challenge. That's just how it is. But the challenge doesn't have to be heavy or dark. It can be, like I said, hurt so good, or that, the pain that's for you, the challenge that's for you. But what do you do in those moments? Do you shut down, go into your head, disconnect, hit below the belt, whatever? Or can you sit in the fire, keep your heart open, and with these skills and these trainings and these role playing and the almost like communication sacred drills, I take them through so they can be there. And if you can be there, you can have it. You can have anything, and it gets deeper and richer over time. And it's
so
really
much of it too, I
nourishing.
think, removing judgment around everything, right? Removing judgment around the other person, removing judgment towards yourself, judging the incident, right? Much of it's just like stepping back and becoming, I don't know, for me, I find that if you can become more of an observer of what's happening, kind of distance yourself a little bit, it's so powerful, because then you can recognize what's happening from a more objective place.
Right. But it's so good that you're saying this, Wendy, because a lot of people do that observer from this spiritual bypass place, and they haven't processed shit. They haven't like flattened the emotional charge of the judgment, the rejection, the blame, the shame. And they're just doing it from up here, from this, I call it spiritual bypass, where they're saying the right metaphysical things, but they're not embodying it.
They're just trying to keep their head above water. They're not out.
Yeah, they haven't embodied it. So I love the work I do. I love the observer thing, but that's sort of like the result or the effect of doing the emotional work to flatten the trigger and really just be present. And that presence is wide. And then you can respond, not react. So yeah, it always comes back to this intimate relationship with yourself, which is why I call myself an intimacy expert.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
That's how
I love my work.
Well, I know we're running out of time here, so maybe you can share a little bit, maybe just a nugget of wisdom for maybe somebody who's kind of struggling right now or going through some relationship type of difficulty. Just maybe just a little nugget of wisdom that might help them to shift something, their perspective.
Yeah.
Something regarding their circumstances.
Yeah. Everything, in my opinion, everything that's happening outside is a reflection of something incongruent or not quite home on the inside. Not broken. There's nothing wrong here. Just something that is ready to evolve and come home on the inside. So if you could, so the circumstances out there, just for now, let it be. Go inside, journal, get in the bath, go for a walk in nature, wherever you can quiet the mind and connect with this part of you, and just start talking to your pain, your shame, your fear, your anger, whatever, without trying to change it, without trying to fix it, without trying to put it in a better mood. Okay, none of that, because that's actually
no agenda.
No agenda. Yeah, because trying to fix it is saying the way you are is not okay, and that's judgment. And that part of you won't change if it smells any of that agenda. So it's like, that's what I call sitting in the fire. Sit in the muck, feel, cry, stamp around, do whatever you need to do to just get this part. Have a conversation so it feels seen and heard and understood. Something very miraculous happens when you can be truly willing to sit with the patience of eternity.
That's so
listen.
challenging.
No, I'm not saying this is easy. This is why I have a thriving coaching practice, because I can't do it very well myself. I have my coaches, and this idea of really, really non-attached, zero importance attached, and 100% unconditional love is a big, tall order, but it is the path. It is the path. And if it takes 6, 7, 8, 9 times, 10 times to get through by sitting there, who cares? What are we going to do the rest of our life? Suffer or heal? So do the work, sit in the fire. Listen, and then there will be a lesson. There will be, I need you to speak your truth. I need you to let go of that dysfunctional relationship. I need you to eat better. I need you to, whatever it is, there's going to be something. Then listen and take divine action based on what that voice says. And if you need support with that, there's me, there's you, there's wonderful people on this planet that are here to hold space and guide you through. But to me, everything comes down to this intimate relationship with self. It's easy to love our magnificent parts, but that's not unconditional love unless we equally love I call them our wobbly parts. There's a gift. They're just as worthy of your love. And they have so much wisdom to give when you stop judging them or avoiding them and just come home to them. It's
Right.
grace, it's transformation, it's wholeness, it's oneness. I don't do it to my clients, but I hold space and guide them. It's they're always in charge. It's their own choice to, as you said, continue to judge, deny and separate, or to come home and be okay with exactly how we are and exactly as we aren't, and totally inherently worthy of it all. Yeah. So that's
powerful.
what I do with my clients.
I can see why you're so successful. That was inspiring.
Oh, good.
I'm sure someone's gonna get right on that. Well, thank you for sharing that wisdom. And we're just about out of time. So Allana, thank you so much for joining me today, carving a little time with your busy life. I sure appreciate it. I honor your work greatly. And
Thank you.
thank you so much for tuning in. If this resonates, please subscribe, like, and share. If you're looking for some intimacy or relationship coaching, Allana is your go-to. We'll put her contact information down below and also at the end of the video. Be kind to yourselves, and I love y'all. Until next time.